Benita Marshall on
Welcome back.
0.7 for the
Two-wheel
next
drive,
one.
a final leg number 3 from round 3 of the 2025 BRCA 110th Offroad Nationals from Southport in the UK.
Okay.
Tommy Hall is down there. He sits it out. And I can tell you, that was close. John nearly lost a leg. I can tell you, obviously, that Tommy has won it.
And nice and steady on to the grid, please.
Ben Smith has 2 seconds. So
Pierce, that's for William White.
So I don't care. Well, thanks for that, but I really am not interested.
I was wondering when I was going to get my little piece of paper, all the permutations on, so I didn't have to use my memory.
Okay, good luck, drivers. A final leg number 3. Here we go. So as we just said, Tommy Hall does not go in leg number 3, already wrapping up the victory today. So congratulations, Tommy Hall. That means that Ben Smith will pull them round on the opening lap from the 2 spot. He goes up to the lead of this one. Lee Martin will be 2nd. Neil Craig 3rd. Luke Holdsworth in the 4. Jamie Hall in the 5. Josh Holdsworth 6. Pretty much regulation order as we go. So Ben Smith, Lee Martin, Neil Craig, Luke Holdsworth, top 4, just starting to edge out a little bit from the rest of the field. So these guys get settled in, down the straight they go. Ben Smith, car number 2, Lee Martin, car number 3, down the straight they go. Neil Craig, 1.5 seconds covering the top 3 cars. 6/10 lead for Ben Smith up front over Lee Martin. So Smith, Martin and Craig, top 3. 1 minute quickly down, 4 minutes remaining. So green and white car, Ben Smith down the straight, orange and blue of Lee Martin. Red, yellow and orange and white of Neil Craig. 22.9 for Ben Smith and Lee Martin. 23.4 for Craig. So those two still 6/10 separation at the front of this one. And then 8/10 back was Neil Craig. These guys, Lee Martin and Ben Smith, pushing themselves around. And Luke Holdsworth trying to get after Neil Craig. 23.1 for Ben Smith, 23.1 for Lee Martin. So these two matching each other lap after lap. They're trying to push through that back section, but they don't want to push too hard and make any mistakes. This Southport track will bite you if you're not careful. These guys make it look easy, but it's super difficult out there. Down the straight goes Ben Smith, 23.1. Lee Martin, 23.2. Neil Craig, 23.3.
Race order after 2 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 10. Leader on lap 6.
So Lee Martin try and push on after Ben Smith ahead of him, but he does not want to make any mistakes because Neil Craig not too far behind there in 3rd. Then it's the Holdsworth brothers once again. Luke and Josh battling it out in 4th and 5th. All our focus at the sharp ends. Ben Smith, 9/10 clear now from Lee Martin. 23.0 for Ben, 23.1 for Neil Craig and Lee Martin. So very little in it, only a 10th or so per lap. Half race distance drivers, 2.5 down, 2.5 minutes to go. 22.8 for Ben Smith. Lee Martin says you are not getting away. 22.8 for Lee Martin. So these guys both stepping it up. New hot laps of the race. 2.5 seconds. The gap over the top 3 now. We'll check them as they go this time. 3 minutes on the master clock, 2 minutes to go. 23.1 for Ben Smith. 23.5 for Lee Martin. Ben Smith got the biggest lead he's had so far in this A final leg 3. So 1.4 second lead at the sharp end. And Neil Craig took 8/10 out of Lee Martin on the last lap. So Lee had a bit of a bobble on that lap. Neil Craig pushing on after Lee Martin. 1 minute 30 remaining. 22.8 for Smith. 22.9 for Lee Martin. 1.4. Stays the gap at the sharp end, almost 1.5 seconds now. And then Neil Craig another 1.5 seconds further back. 1 minute 20 seconds remaining. Ben Smith turning left over the concrete section he goes. Down onto the straight. Lee Martin giving chase. 22.51, new hot lap for Lee Martin. The gap's down to 1 second at the sharp end. 22.8 for Ben Smith. But Lee Martin pushing on that hard. He's made a mistake. Drop to the 3, Neil Craig to the 2.
8, 9, 10, leader on lap 11.
So Ben Smith got a little bit of breathing space now because he's got Neil Craig there in the 2. Lee Martin was absolutely wringing its neck of that car and just pushed that limit that little bit too far, as we were saying. But Neil Craig with a pair of 6s coming into this one will still struggle to be making the podium, I believe. So Lee Martin still looking pretty good, even in the 3 spot. 30 seconds to go. This lap and one more for the leaders. Here comes Ben Smith onto the straight to start the final lap. He might get one more. It's going to be right on the buzzer again. Ben Smith might make another lap. All depends on this last lap now, or whether it's last lap and one more. Neil Craig 2.7 behind Ben Smith. Then Lee Martin another second behind Neil. Approaching 5 minutes. Keep going. Will Ben Smith get through?
2 finished.
Ben Smith, you are
4
done.
finished. 3 finished.
Neil Craig done.
5
Lee
finished.
Martin done. Give him a round of applause. Ben Smith takes leg number 3. And now to put him second on the podium. Neil Craig second in that leg. Lee Martin third.
9 finished.
Luke Holdsworth fourth. Jamie Hall 5. And we'll let the computer work out the overall podium to confirm it. Isaac McFadden still to go.
8 finished.
That is race over drivers, and a final leg number 3 brings us to a close for today. For 2-wheel drive.
A final leg number 3 is done. We saw Ben Smith confirm his position in second place. He'll be happy with that. And I think it's Lee Martin in third. Great performance for Ben.
Second place on the podium, your winner is Ben Smith. Third place on the podium by just 1 single point is Lee Martin. Well done to Lee Martin in third. The summary of Ben Smith, Lee Martin in top 3. Luke Holdsworth was 4. Neil Craig in 5.
Thanks, Muzz, for that. Thanks for joining us. It has been a tricky day for a lot of people. It's wet and drying all day, and just generally not very pleasant, I would say. Cold underfoot, but quite some racing, and great to see those finals run with very, very few mistakes after qualifying being full of mistakes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you for 4-wheel drive very soon.